I think people can learn from Paul to put other people first. He always seems to know what somebody needs, and he doesn't put his own needs first, ever. So I think that if they would take a look at Paul, what you would find is that there are probably 50 people in town who would say Paul is their best friend. Because Paul makes everybody feel like he's their best friend, and he would do anything for them as though he is their best friend, whether he met them yesterday or if he knew them for 40 years.
He makes everybody he meets feel like they're his best friend. He's very affable and very easy to make friends.
I admire Paul and Susan because they're very family-oriented and give a lot to the Jewish community. Paul has always been involved in the Brotherhood and for many years taught religious school. And I know the excitement he brings, whether he's teaching men in Brotherhood or children in religious school, how much they all gain from him.
Susan is the daughter of 2 Holocaust survivors. And from that, she really learned the value of not only Judaism, but the importance of family. And I'll give you a great example. Those who know us well know we had a very interesting wedding story. But a short part of the beginning is the fact that my mother got ill the day that we were supposed to get married, and we found out that she wasn't going to be able to make it to the wedding, which broke my heart. It was very upsetting I think for myself and for my mom and Susan. And it was Susan who came up with the brilliant idea. She said, look, if she can't come to the wedding, because my mom was in the hospital, she said, let's bring the wedding to her. And the truth is, we were married in the emergency room of which hospital?
Harrisburg Hospital.
Harrisburg Hospital.
But I sent him to the Polyclinic Hospital.
I know. But so we got married in a hospital because she realized that was the most important thing.
We just finished the holiday of Shavuot and reread selections from Parshat Yitro. And one of its highlights, of course, is the 5th commandment, which Susan and Paul, but Susan I'm speaking to now primarily, exemplifies also. Lekabed et avicha ve'et imecha, how she demonstrates not only honor for parents, and continues to do with her beloved mother. May she live ad mea ve'esrim till her 120th year, and Paul does with both his parents. But they also demonstrate love, so going a little beyond actually the precept.
We recently had a loss in our family. Neil lost his mother just a few weeks ago. And, that first week of Shiva, people are always coming and giving and sharing. And the Shiva had ended, and it was way beyond almost the end of the second week. And I had just come home from doing some food shopping. And who do I see at my front door but Paul Davidson, who came with a dinner that he and Susan prepared, that they made themselves, and they said, the food probably has stopped, but we wanted to give you another meal just to make your lives a little easier at this difficult time. And I think that exemplifies who they both are.
I think he makes it so clear that this is just it's not a labor of love, it's just love, that he wants to do whatever he can for his fellow person in the community, whatever he can to make their lives easier, with warmth and caring. That's just his nature, and it's very obvious. Everybody, when you think about Paul, you think about love and caring.
Paul's got a great sense of humor. He really cares about people. He's a great listener. He's a doer. If things get messed up, if things need a solution, he's right there with a can-do, like, we're going to make this happen. He's almost like a visionary. Paul, I hate to give you this much credit, but you're almost like a visionary. You'll see something, and you'll get it done. You'll see all the ingredients, and you'll just get it all done.
We saw how they opened their home to students from China. For a period of a year. I think there were multiple students, and we actually had the pleasure of having them in our sukkah, and learned a lot about China and the community. And we love that they show us by their actions how important it is to open your home. It's
And
just
it
like
was-
Sarah
it was-
and Abraham.
Yeah, and it was great serving Jewish food to a Chinese person, as opposed to the way most Jews eat. And and when he left, he knew more Hebrew than many of our people.
Their passion, their honesty, their friendliness. They, Paul especially, will go up to anyone he does not know in the temple and introduce himself to them and to other people. And Susan also will talk to anyone. It's very friendly people who just love him.
Paul's played many roles, both as my brother and as a son, as an actor. He's really been a very, very multi-talented person, and Susan as well.
You think about love and caring, but let's not take this too far because he can also be quite kooky. So for those who've seen Paul as an actor in our Purimspiel, you know that he can be quite hilarious in costume, and with his glorious voice, he really has a dimension of fun and joy to the community as well, with his silly nature. But of course, it's grounded, as Myrna said, in love.
Paul and I are members of the Temple Israel Brotherhood, and every 2 years we have a convention. And a few years back, the convention was in Anaheim, California. So we fly out to California. We leave like 2, 3, 4 in the morning, get to the airport, fly out to California with a layover somewhere. So we're in California, it's about noon, we've been flying for 8 hours. Paul says, let's go to Disneyland. Okay. He and I get on a bus, spend an hour on the bus, get to Disneyland, spend 6, 7 hours in Disneyland. We're dead tired. It's now midnight. We have to take the bus back. Paul never finds an opportunity, never misses an opportunity to go and explore. So the next time you find yourself flying with Paul, he's going to take you somewhere.
Paul and I were riding from an international convention in Chicago a few years back, and we were going to visit a good friend of ours and to see a concert. And somehow the street signs, all the streets were getting lower instead of higher. And before we knew it, we're in the inner city of Chicago. We meant to be in the suburbs. And I kept on saying to Paul, we should have asked the concierge, because Paul didn't want to, and I knew I needed to. Paul, we should have contacted the concierge. And so he's just, laughing and, oh, the concierge. And we made it out alive, and we made it to the concert a little late, but we had a great time.
They've been examples. Both Paul and Susan have served as examples, not only in their temple, but in the community at large. And that extends to their involvement from days when Paul was a teacher, as Laurie mentioned, at Temple Beth Elohim in Wellesley. They have set examples for raising a family in a solid Jewish home, and they have demonstrated throughout their lives what it means to be a good person and a good Jew.